Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we'll continue our discussion on exception handling. We'll talk about throw statement and we'll talk about custom exceptions as well. So throw statements. You may create a throw statement um, to throw a new exceptions. So the statement is throw new exception type. This is the statement that you can create an exception by yourself. Or exception already happened and you want to throw it again for some reason. So this is the statement throw E, because E is an object that is created at the time of exception. So we are throwing it again. So when a throw statement is encountered, so what happens? Computer starts searching again for the matching catch block. And it will ignore all statement that comes in between. So let's see the example. In this example, if you see in our program, this is a very simple program. This is main method. It is doing nothing except in this method, it is trying to display and call another method. That's it. And then displaying again. So display, call again, display, and then catch the error. So it is calling a method. So what will happen? It will display before a and then it will jump to a method, and the a method is available here. It will display this line and it will jump to b method. So there you go. It jumps to b method. It will come inside, display before C, and then it will go into the C. It will display before D and then it goes into the D. So it will jump to the D now. In this D, it comes here and now it is doing something and we will get the error message here. We will get the exception. It will throw the exception here, that is divided by 0. And now in the next statement, we will catch. So we'll catch arithmetic exception and it come down and then it will display the message of the exception. Okay. And then it will throw the same exception again, divided by 0 exception. Because this is the object, right? So this is the object, we are throwing it again. So it is like, again, the same thing happens. So for sure, whether there's an error or not, finally block will always be executed. So it will display D finally, and then it will jump back to the previous method here. Since we are in error, we have an exception, we will not go for the after D line. We will not print this one, but rather we will jump to the catch. We will catch the error and we will display the error message. Oh, we will throw again. So again, it looks like that we are in the same divided by 0 error message again. So whether we have an error or not, it will go for the finally, and now it will jump back here, but it will ignore the after C statement. It will ignore this line and it will jump to catch. It will catch, it will display the finally, and it go back to A at this point. Now, since we don't have any error, it will continue in a sequence. It will print after B, and then there is no error, so there is no need to go to the catch. It will go for the finally. And then from finally, it will go to the A, and the next statement of the A is this one. So it will go for the after A. There is no exception. It will go for the finally. The last statement it will print is main finally. So let's compile and see whether we can get the same thing or not. So E8. Now if you see, we got a before A, before B, before C, and before D. And now we got an exception, divided by 0. Then we got D finally, and we are doing like that. At the end, we got main finally. Now what you need to do is, without running the program, you just walk through. You come inside, you think, what is that? Okay, it will print this statement. On the paper, you start writing before A. Then you go to this method, jump to this method. And then what will happen next? It will write this thing. So write before B on the paper. So keep writing on the paper all your output. At the end, you compile the program and you execute the program and match. Is your output same as this output? If it is so you understand the concept. If not, then do the paperwork again until you are clear about your problem, about the solution. So let's see the next statement. So this is the program. It is continuing until this point. And now this is the output of the program. Custom exception. You can create your own exception classes based on your specific application. So you can handle your error accordingly. This can be done by creating the subclass of exception. You can use throw statement to throw an instance of your exception as well. So let's see how we can create the exception class. So if you see here, this is class exception A. This is my exception, and it is the subclass, the parent class is exception. So it is inheriting everything from exception to my exception class, exception A. So here is the inheritance. And now for public exception A, this is my constructor now. I am passing a string message. And this string message is going to the base class constructor. And similarly, I created another message, another class, and that is again extending from the exception class. I got a constructor. So I'll pass a message. When I'll create the object, I'll pass a message. This message will go to the main exception class. So actually, I'm using the exception class, but this is my name. So I'm creating my custom exception class for this message. So mostly I'm using the exception class methods. So what I can do is I can just copy paste this part. So this is my exception class. Now I can go back to my program, and now it is same program almost. I can copy paste and then we can discuss. Now this is my A method, this is my B method, this is my C method. Now when I come to this program in the main method, it jumps to A. Okay, when it comes here, it jumps to B, and it comes here, it jumps to C. And in this one, I created a random number. So this is my random number object. I say, okay, random dot next. What is the next random number? And that is integer. Give to this one, I. And now I say I mod 2. If it is even number, I get 0. If it is not even number, I'll get 1 or 2 or 3. Other than 0, I'll get. So if it is 0, and if it is even number, so I say throw new exception A. This is my exception now. You see, I created my exception here. Throw new exception A, and message is small problem. So the small problem here will go to the base method, and it will go to here, and it will display the small problem. Otherwise, I'll be throwing the new exception, that is exception B, and it is saying big problem. So let's try this program on. So csc e8.cs, and I can say cls e8. Now you see here, when I run the program, it goes deep up to C program, C method, and then it check whether it is this or this. So now this time we found it was an odd number, 3 mod, maybe 3, maybe 5, maybe 7, maybe 9. So 9 mod 2 is not equal to 0, so it will jump here and it says big problem. So you see that it displays the big problem, and then it says, yeah, it was at exception C, in the C method that comes from the B method. Okay, so that comes from the B method. It is telling like that. Now let me run it again, E8. Maybe this time random number might be even number. Oh yeah, if you see here, the random number is even number. So it says that if it is even number, so it's a small problem. So it raised an exception, small problem. And this small problem, from the C, from the C it comes from B, and to B it comes from A. So you see that? So it is getting like that. So this is an example of custom exception. Let me see what we. That's it for today. Kafara Majlis. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.